It was a day like any other when my life changed forever. The incessant bustle of New York accompanied me as I drove back home after another grueling week as a stylist. The lights of the city flashed around me, reminding me of all the successes I had achieved in my career. At the time, I could not imagine that I was about to embark on the most extraordinary journey of my existence. The constant roar of the city, the endless demands of my clients, the dazzling catwalks, everything seemed to revolve around an insatiable quest for approval and success. My name echoed in the halls of the most prestigious fashion houses, and my designs graced the pages of the most exclusive magazines. I had built an empire based on aesthetic perfection, but at the cost of something much more valuable that I would only begin to understand later. I vividly remember how fate chose that precise moment to intervene. In the middle of a sharp turn, a blinding flash flooded my field of vision. Everything happened in slow motion. The lights of the out-of-control truck, the deafening screech of brakes, the inevitable impact. The rumble of twisting metal and shattering glass merged into a chaotic crescendo before sinking into absolute, unnerving silence. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in a place that defied all earthly logic. The light that permeated everything seemed to have no defined origin. It simply existed, enveloping every particle of space with an indescribable warmth. I felt no physical pain, but an inexplicable heaviness weighed on my heart, as if all the decisions in my life converged in that very moment to show me a truth I had been deliberately ignoring. That was when I saw him. A radiant figure approached with a grace that transcended any human movement. His eyes, a deeper blue than the ocean itself, shimmered with the light of a flash of light. They had a love and compassion that took my breath away. Before I could utter a word, his voice, soft but unmistakably powerful, resonated through my being. "I am Jesus. Come with me, there is much you need to see." The space around us began to transform into a vast field of memories, like a living gallery of my own existence. I witnessed moments of my life projected like high-definition movies, my triumphs on the most prestigious catwalks, every award I received, every standing ovation. But interspersed with these images of apparent success were scenes that made me deeply uncomfortable, moments of excessive arrogance, moments when I had looked down on those who did not conform to my strict standards of perfection. One scene in particular pierced my soul like an icy dagger. The time I publicly humiliated a young designer for what I considered a minor imperfection in his work. At that moment, I could see the pain reflected in his eyes with devastating clarity, and I understood the true extent of my arrogance. The weight of that realization hit me with overwhelming force. Jesus' gaze, though understanding, conveyed a seriousness that made me shudder. His words, spoken with a perfect blend of gentleness and firmness, resonated deep within me. "You have built your life around a distorted reflection of true worth." We moved into a hall of mirrors, but these did not reflect my physical appearance. They showed something much deeper and more revealing. My soul laid bare before the truth. In one of the mirrors, I watched vanity take the form of golden chains that imprisoned me. Though shiny and seemingly precious, their weight was unbearable. I understood that every time I sought admiration and applause, these chains tightened around me. "Vanity is a vice that distorts the truth," Jesus explained as he signed. He looked at a reflection where my image was broken down into fragments of light. Then, with infinite patience, he showed me moments in my life when I had helped others without expecting anything in return. In each of these scenes, the light around me grew naturally and beautifully. "This is your true essence," he said with a smile that filled me with hope. I then remembered an old passion that I had buried under layers of ambition, the afternoons I spent sewing clothes to donate to shelters in the city. These were moments when I felt truly alive and fulfilled, but I had abandoned them in pursuit of an ephemeral glory that now seemed empty and meaningless. The lesson was crystal clear. Jesus was not there to judge me, but to help me see how vanity had kept me from my true purpose. A new reflection appeared before me. I saw myself smiling as I helped a girl choose a dress for a school interview. In that moment, I understood the true meaning of serving with love. Our next stop was a vision from time immemorial. Before my eyes materialized a figure of indescribable beauty, surrounded by a light of its own that eclipsed everything I had seen until then. "This is Lucifer," Jesus explained, "created perfect, but not immune to the danger of pride." I watched in horror as that shining figure transformed, its light turning into ever denser shadows. Lucifer's transformation was marked by a single thought: the vanity of believing himself superior. At that moment, I understood that pride is like a flame that silently consumes, destroying all good in its path. Pride leads to the fall, but love is the bridge to the return, Jesus said, as we returned to the field of memories. The visions impacted me deeply. Every scene of pride in my life reflected the same dangerous path I had been following without realizing it. With a loud voice, I heard the voice of Lucifer. "I am the one who is." I asked Jesus, "Is there a way back when we have lost ourselves in the darkness of ego?" His smile, full of tenderness, comforted me. There is always a way back. It is in recognizing, accepting, and changing. As these words penetrated my heart, I felt an indescribable peace begin to fill my being. It was as if the golden chains of vanity were finally broken, leaving me free for the first time in many years. The visions continued, showing me how small, everyday decisions shape our destiny. I saw pivotal moments in my life, each a fork in the road I had chosen. I remembered with pain when I abandoned a close friend for a job opportunity that promised fame and recognition. The disappointment on his face, which I had ignored at the time, now caused me deep remorse. Pride can be subtle, a seed that grows silently until its roots are too deep, Jesus explained as the memories wove together in a cascade of colors and emotions. He showed me a lavish party where I was the center of attention, surrounded by people fawning over me. I could now clearly see that such admiration was as ephemeral as the smoke from a newly extinguished candle. True greatness lies in serving, not being served, Jesus reminded me, and the party scene faded away, leaving me in an empty room that resonated with the truth of his words. A comforting warmth enveloped me as I understood the fundamental difference between living for oneself and living for something greater than ego. When Jesus reached out his hand saying, "We will return, but this time with renewed purpose," I knew my life would never be the same. Waking up in the hospital was like being born again. The monotonous sound of the monitors and the worried voices of the medical staff reminded me that I had returned to the material world, but I was no longer the same person who had been there. I was gone. My family held my hand with tears in their eyes, unaware that I had just experienced a transformation that transcended the physical. The experience seemed like a dream, but every detail was etched in my mind with crystal clarity. It was more real than any fashion show or award show I had ever attended. The first look in the hospital mirror was eye-opening. I was no longer looking to admire my appearance, but to see beyond it. I saw a woman ready to rediscover herself, to find her true purpose in life.
The
RST step was to reach out to those I had hurt with my arrogance. The call to the young designer I had humiliated was especially difficult, but his response of surprise and gratitude confirmed to me that I was on the right path. I returned to my roots, returning to sewing for shelters and volunteering to teach aspiring young people in needy communities. The impact of my transformation did not go unnoticed. Friends and colleagues began to notice the change in my attitude, and some even joined my new mission. The void that vanity had left in my life was gradually replaced by authentic satisfaction, born from seeing genuine smiles and sharing true moments of joy. Over time, those who sought help found in me not a relentless critic, but a sympathetic ally. We formed a group dedicated to creating sustainable and accessible fashion, where each garment told a story of overcoming and humility. Recognition came again, but this time not in the form of empty applause, but of silent gratitude and sincere hugs. I began to give talks, sharing my experience and the lessons learned about the danger of pride and the beauty of simplicity. Although Jesus did not appear physically again, I felt his presence in every act of kindness, in every smile, and in every humble decision I made. The new routine brought me a reassuring feeling of happiness, deeper understanding than any previous success, and challenges became opportunities to grow and learn. His words, "There is always a way back," became my personal mantra, a constant reminder that the return to what is pure and true is always within our reach. Years later, I decided to write a book about my experience, sharing the wisdom gained on that heavenly journey. The letters began to arrive. People from all over the world wrote to me to tell me how my story had helped them rethink their own lives and priorities. One young man in particular touched me by sharing how, inspired by my testimony, he had managed to overcome his addiction to recognition on social media. I organized annual meetings where we talked about humility, gratitude, and how loving one's neighbor is the greatest achievement we can achieve. I saw the beauty of change manifest not only in myself, but also in those around me, and I understood that every choice can be a seed of hope for others. I returned to the hospital where I had woken up, this time not as a patient, but as a volunteer, offering comfort to those going through their own crises and transformations. Every story I heard, every life I touched, reminded me of the greater purpose for which I had been saved. One special evening, as I watched the sunset from my study window, I felt again that luminous presence that had changed my life. I smiled, knowing that my path now reflected the light that had always been there, patiently waiting to be discovered. My story is not only a testimony of personal transformation, it is a reminder that true success is not measured in applause or recognition, but in the ability to touch and improve the lives of others. The accident that seemed like the end of my path turned out to be just the beginning of a more meaningful and profound journey. Every day is a new day, a new opportunity to live with purpose and humility, to create beauty that transcends the superficial and reaches the hearts of those around us. My experience taught me that true light does not come from the spotlights of the catwalks, but from the inner glow that is cultivated through love and service to others. Today, as I continue my work in the fashion industry, I do so with a completely different perspective. Every design, every collection, every project is imbued with a higher purpose, to uplift and empower others, to create spaces of inclusion and love, and to remember that true beauty lies in the heart. My encounter with Jesus was not the end of a story, but the beginning of a new chapter that continues to be written every day. Through every person I help, every faith I touch, every moment of humility and service, I feel that I am honoring that transformative experience that showed me the true meaning of life. And so, as the sun sets on another day of this new life, I am grateful for the second chance I was given. Because I learned that no matter how far we have strayed from the path, there is always the possibility of returning to the light, of rediscovering our true essence, and of living a life that truly matters. And as I reflect on it all, I feel that every step of this path has had a divine purpose. Sunsets now have a deeper meaning. They are daily reminders that true beauty does not need to proclaim itself. Like the sun that quietly sets each day, painting the sky in indescribable colors, I have learned that the most meaningful actions are often the quietest. My studio, once a temple of vanity and obsessive perfectionism, has become a sanctuary of healing and hope. Walls once covered with awards and photographs of celebrities now display the smiling faces of those whose lives we have touched. Every garment we create tells a story of redemption, every stitch imbued with purpose. I have begun to document the stories of transformation that occur in our space. A young single mother who learned to sew and now provides for her children with dignity. A teenager who found his calling in design after years of battling depression. An elderly man who rediscovered his passion for tailoring and now teaches others. These stories are my true legacy, far more valuable than any award or recognition I have ever received before. The weekly meetings we host have become more than just sewing classes. They are healing spaces where people share their struggles and victories, where tears of pain are transformed into smiles of hope. I have seen how the simple act of creating something with one's own hands can be deeply therapeutic, how the process of shaping a fabric can help rebuild broken lives. On Sunday afternoons, as the sun begins its descent, we gather in a circle to share tea and stories. It is in these moments that I feel the presence of Jesus the most, in the sincere communion between souls who seek something deeper than material success. The genuine laughter, the spontaneous hugs, the words of encouragement, all of this has a value that no runway could match. I have learned to see beauty in imperfections, in the not-so-straight seams of a beginner, in designs that don't follow fashion trends, but are born from the heart. Each person who walks through our door brings with them a unique story, a potential waiting to be discovered. My role is no longer to judge or criticize, but to nurture and guide. The collections we now create are collaborative, born from the collective wisdom of our community. We incorporate traditional techniques from different cultures, honoring diversity and the richness of our culture. The fashion shows we put on are unlike anything I had ever done in my previous life. There is no exclusivity or elitism. Our models are real people of all ages, sizes, and backgrounds. The runway becomes a space for celebrating authenticity, where each person shines with their unique light. Sometimes, on quiet nights when everyone is left, I sit at my old workbench and remember that pivotal moment at the bend in the road. The accident that seemed like a tragedy was actually a divine gift, an intervention that saved me from a life of emptiness disguised as success. The lessons continue to come each day. I learn from each person who walks through our door, from each story shared, from each tear shed and each smile earned. Humility is not a destination you reach, but a path you walk day by day. Every morning brings new opportunities to choose love over ego, service over recognition. We have begun to expand our reach beyond the city borders. Through online programs, we share our knowledge with remote communities. Seeing how our teachings multiply, how each person we help becomes a helper too. Oh, others, reminds me of Jesus' words about seeds falling on good soil. Recognitions have come in unexpected ways. Not trophies or applause, but heartfelt letters, spontaneous hugs, tears of gratitude. Every time someone shares how their life has changed because of our work, I feel a joy that no industry award could match. Sleepless nights are no longer spent worrying about next season's trends or what's next. Ask critics' comments. Now are moments of reflection and gratitude, of planning new ways to serve, of dreaming of ways to reach more people in need. The silence of the night has become my ally, a sacred space to connect with that higher purpose that was revealed to me. I have begun writing a new book, not about fashion or design, but about the soul's journey towards authenticity. Each chapter is a testimony of transformation, not only my own, but of all the extraordinary people I have met on this path. Their stories intertwine with mine, forming a tapestry of hope and redemption. The fashion industry, which was once my everything, is now simply a vehicle for something bigger. We have created a network of designers and artisans committed to ethical and sustainable fashion, people who understand that each garment can be a declaration of love towards humanity and the planet. The most precious moments are those when I see someone discover their own value, beyond appearances and social standards. When a person looks into the mirror and for the first time sees themselves with the eyes of love, I know that I am witnessing a miracle as profound as the one I experienced myself. Every morning, before we open the doors to our workshop, I pause for a moment to give thanks. I am thankful for the second chance, for every person who crosses our threshold, for every story entrusted to us. I am thankful even for the challenges and difficulties, because I know that they are opportunities to grow in love and wisdom. The future unfolds before me like a blank canvas, ready to be worked with purpose and love. I don't know exactly what form it will take, but I trust that as long as I keep my heart open and my hands willing to serve, each stitch will be part of a larger, more beautiful design than I could have ever imagined. The words of Jesus resonate now with renewed clarity. There is always a way to this path of return is not a final destination, but rather an ongoing journey of discovery and service. Each day brings new opportunities to choose light over darkness, love over fear, humility over pride. And so, As the sun sets on another day of this renewed life, my heart overflows with gratitude and hope. I know that this is just the beginning of an even more beautiful chapter in this story of redemption and love that continues to unfold, day by day, moment by moment, in the great tapestry of life.